Hey, what's up, guys? Max here. So I talked about this in the live stream, how I have a opportunity to take one of these champions to rank 3 as a 7-star. Now, I wanted to do some offensive speed test between the two. You know, they're very different champions. Similarity in the fact that they have a couple of things that they share in common besides the tech, being tech champions. You know, knowing Prowler and knowing its entire kit and everything that he possesses now, and being that he's a 2024 champion as opposed to Starkey being a 2017 champion, you would think that he would be the obvious choice, right? But it's not as easy as that. Okay, it's not like, oh yeah, the best and newest champions, the latest and newest champion is always going to be the best one. In my testing of going back and forth of these two champions, let's get into some Prowler testing right now. I found out that Starkey was actually faster. Okay, and I did a bunch of fights, and we're not going to show those right now. What we are going to show here is going to be try to get this guy, see if we can get him to as far as 2 bars of power. There we go. Have him launch it. And then we're going to go with the falter. We got the incinerate up. So now we just need him to go there. Oh, he clipped us because I was not paying attention. And then we go a special 2, see how much damage we do there. Decent 31k damage, not bad. So let's go with that and see if he launches special 2. Special 1, I should say. And then we're going to go with the heavy, apply that incinerate. Now, unfortunately, he is not falter, but he is incinerate. So we are going to do some nice damage here. Nice. Okay. And let's go with another option here. So he's got incinerate and falter this time. And he's dead. Okay, so that took 1 minute and 24 seconds, and actually that took too long. Okay, I've done this fight, especially since I currently have collar tech active at the moment. I've done this fight in 1 minute. Exactly 1 minute. That has been the best time that I've done it. I didn't do the typical rotation which I've done in the past to get to that minute mark, which is parry heavy, so that way we do start with the incinerate and then push the opponent as close to basically 2 bars of power, and then having them launch a special 1. There we go, perfect. And then now we go with the mediums, and now he's got falter and incinerate. Now he does have 28 furies, not 30, which is his max. There we go. So he's gonna go for another special 1, and we're gonna apply that incinerate here. That was actually pretty risky, but worth it. And see if he launches it. Good. And then we're going to go with the falter, and he's got the incinerates with the special 2s. See how much damage he does here. 36k. Very nice. And he's dead. Okay. So we did miss one of them. I think it was the first one, if I'm not mistaken, but I got the second one, or I don't know if we got both, but this is 1 minute and 1 second. Okay. One of the things to discuss and just talk about in this testing right now is that I have collar tech 5 out of 5. Okay. He's SIG 200, which kind of like the idea when it comes to my 7-star is to get as high SIG as possible. Now, that's a really impressive fight, guys. 1 minute to take over 500,000 health off an opponent is really impressive. Collar tech helps him tremendously because it increases those chances of ruptures, and it increases that special 2 damage quite a lot. Now, when it comes to Starkey, he's a little bit of a slower upfront fight, but once he's ramped up when it comes to his these dexes that we're doing here to get his charges up, and he maxes out at 10 charges, which we're almost there. And here we go. We're going to go with the intercept. We're going to give him the taunt. Have him launch a special one. So that way we stay at 10. We got him with another taunt. Okay, that's fine. See if he can launch it. And then, oh, we got him with a taunt. I thought that was just one medium. Okay, that's fine. And here we go. He should be dead with the relic and special. You didn't even get to another special one. But that, guys, was at 49 seconds. Okay. One of the biggest things about both of these champions is can Prowler. So one of the things you would question and in making your decision is, can Prowler do more fights than Starkey can? Can Starkey, and the reason why you might ask yourself this is because Prowler is not, Starkey has no immunities whatsoever, as opposed to Prowler. He's got 2 immunities, and one of them, two are going to be bleed and incinerates. So having those immunities, does that mean that he can do more fights in Battlegrounds? Well, no. That means he can do more fights in Alliance War. That means he can do more fights when it comes to nodes and questing, yes. But when it comes to Battlegrounds, unless there's a node that the Kabam implements, says, hey, all opponents are going to get bleed as soon as you block a hit, or bleed within the first 5 seconds of the fight, then yes, he becomes a great asset. But in normal nodes, normal situations where we don't have that involved, then when it comes to what fights can Prowler do, as opposed to can he do more fights than Starkey can, the answer to that is no. One of the opponents that it came to mind that he might be able to kind of win over was going to be Mephisto with the incinerates. And if you know how to do that fight with Starkey and you've practiced that fight, because I've done that plenty of times, you can actually nuke those Mephistos with Starkey. Okay, you need a little bit of an RNG, but also if we're considering now a rank 3 7-star punching down to a rank 5, even ascended, you should still be able to be very careful with that fight, obviously, but you still be able to do that fight very quickly. Now, the other opponent that I thought about, okay, what's another opponent that you still take some bleed damage regardless? Hopefully you don't get hit, right? Because there's a lot of opponents you get hit, you can get bleeds or incinerates. But let's say you don't get hit, and that was Bullseye. At the moment, I think Bullseye, definitely I would give it up to Prowler when it comes to the better option. But with the nerf that's coming to Bullseye, I think Starkey just building up his poise charges and then going hard on him, giving him a power drain. Again, you can even with Starkey, you can even keep him at power drain, because that does go on a cooldown. I think it's 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Or you can kind of stun him with a special one. You can do the relic and then drain him again with power. So there's a lot of ways of playing that fight, especially if you're going to be going up against another rank 3 versus rank 3. But overall, I think those two would be the probably worst matches that I can see where maybe Prowler does shine when it comes to his immunities. Now, the other matchup that Prowler does have the advantage on is going to be Dominoes. And that's one of the concerns that did pop up in my head. Domino. Okay. There's going to be a lot in Battlegrounds. There's now a lot, especially after the summer sale, 4th of July sales. There's going to be a ton of rank 3s, high sig Dominoes at the moment roaming around. You can easily banner, or you can ban other champions that are actually specifically good for the meta that are just problematic. Or you can have a 7-star rank 3 Prowler in your deck because he handles Dominoes very well. Okay, Starkey on the other hand, not so much. Okay, the dexing, unless you don't hit, and then I've done that fight with Starkey, and yes, you can do it, but it's not as easy as the Prowler versus Dominoes setup. Okay, and that to me was the matchup that I was like, okay, this is where Prowler shines a bit more. The other area where Prowler does shine a bit more is in the prestige category. He is the #1 prestige champion at the moment when it comes to tech. He's filling up that number 1 spot where Starkey is probably in the bottom 5, if I'm not mistaken. He's not in the top 5, basically. And since both of these champions require an investment of your SIGs, Prowler ideally SIG 200 as high as possible because of the prestige, because it actually benefits him on the falter damage. So that's going to be huge. And then Starkey, I think I was doing some numbers, and I think Starkey between SIG 80 to 140 and then 200 is kind of like where you want to have him as a 7-star. SIG 20 is already plenty of work, but yeah, the more 6 stones you can invest into him, you don't have to take him to 200 right away. But between, like I said, 80, 120, and then 200 are kind of like milestones that I found to be like really good for Starkey as a 7-star. Are going to be more than enough, right? So between the two, again, this is your decision to make. This is kind of my decision to kind of break down and analyze when it comes to these two champions. They're freaking great. Yes, Prowler can do maybe a couple of more fights too, like Korg.
Oh my god!
Like Shock, no, not Shocker, but what's his name? Oh, I'm blanking on his name right now. Why am I blanking on his name? Electro. I'm thinking Shocker, electricity. Because one of his abilities is that his mediums are non-contact. So you can basically medium your entire fight. So he opens himself up for more fights. He does. And when it comes to speed, you're probably looking at like, again, maybe like 10, 12 seconds when it comes to speed. So ultimately, is it like is Starkey like beating him by a big gap? No, he's not. But he's beating him, but he's not beating him by a big gap. I think Prowler makes up for it with the abilities to do these other extra fights that I mentioned. Kind of makes that gap, closes up that gap because of the time that he can do them. So it's your decision, with these kind of like facts, when it comes to both of these champions. But let me know what you feel is the better option. What you feel, what direction you're going to go with. Myself, I think after testing, I want to go with Starkey. So we're still working on trying to get Starkey myself. We do have Prowler already. So yeah, that's kind of like the route that I right now, as of tonight, figure I'll be doing. But yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm completely blind to the fact that, hey, you don't know about this, about Prowler, or you don't know this about Starkey. Yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. So check you there. Take care. See you on the next one. Peace.